So what I want to do right now is I want to walk you through the different steps in this Red Zone production timeline, show you the 3 different phases and all the little steps and what I do when I'm walking through this. Now, again, this is assuming that you have a song, a finished composition, a song that you've written or somebody else has written, and you want to produce it. You want to get it from where it is right now, not recorded, into a recorded phase, but also produced well enough to be what I call Red Zone worthy, Red Zone ready. What that means is that you can send it to another producer if you want to take it from there and embellish it a little bit more through somebody else's talent, which will save you a huge amount of money because you're going to be producing most of this yourself and recording a lot of it yourself. Or you can pitch it over to a licensing agent or music supervisor, and you could pitch it over to them for maybe a sync placement opportunity if you're trying to sync your music to film, TV, ads, which is something I like to do. Or you could throw it out to your fans. You could put it on SoundCloud. You could put it on YouTube, and it would be quality, worthy of people's attention. It would command respect. So let me walk you through how I do this, okay? So you're probably wondering, what is the red zone? Well, the red zone, just like in American football, is the area of the field between the 20-yard line and the field and the touchdown area. Okay, this is the high intense area. It's right at that goal line where the offense and defense have to play at their best and they're trying to stop each other. It's a very intense part of the game. How does that apply to this? Well, your music is going to be right at that goal line. It might even be goal line worthy. That's up to you to figure out. But I'm helping you get into that red zone so you can take it from there. So let's start off. I'm assuming that you have some kind of way of recording. If you are beginning at producing, maybe you've had a year, maybe you had a couple months. Hopefully you have something like an audio station, a digital audio workstation, also called a DAW. And you can pull that up either on your mobile device or on your computer. And there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of inexpensive ones. So what are you going to start with? Well, first thing I want you to do is I want you to record the engine of the song. This is what I do. Again, if I'm doing this fast, if I only have a couple days, it would be a condensed version of this whole map. But I'm assuming you have a little time, maybe a few weeks to do this. So the first day, I'm going to record the engine of the song. What is the engine? What do I mean by that? That is, if you were playing the song live or playing it for a friend, and would you play it on your guitar? Would you play it on the piano? What would you do? Most of you would play it on an acoustic guitar. That's how most songwriters write, or a piano. Well, either of those, take the engine of your song that's going to establish the chord progression, melody, key, tempo, and groove, that engine that you're using, and go ahead and record that. And don't sing to it. Just record it by itself. So hopefully you can do that in MIDI, but if you can't, do it a live version of it. It's going to be a scratch take, so you don't have to take it too seriously, but do it the best you can, the way you would perform it. Okay, you've done that. We're moving on to groove. I want you to start adding some groove elements to this. This is where you start adding a little bit of drums, a little percussion, just something to establish and mold the groove of the song. Next, we're going to go into scratch vocals. This is where, for me, for instance, I always outsource my vocals to somebody else. I don't really sing the final vocals on my music anymore. I used to, but I don't do that anymore. I find better singers than me. It's one of the secrets to my success is finding better people than myself. It's being resourceful. So you bring that person in, or if you don't have them yet, I'll go ahead and sing the scratch vocals myself, sing it into a microphone, get a scratch vocal. I know this is going to be taken out eventually, so I'm not taking it too seriously. I'm just getting the melody in, okay? So now I've got the engine, I've got a little bit of percussion, I've got that melody in there, I've established a little bit of the song. This is where I'm going to rough in the arrangement. Now, you probably have already done this with recording the engine, but if you haven't, go ahead and start moving things around. You can cut and paste, an extra chorus here, or make room for a bridge, or whatever you need to do to establish the arrangement of the song. If you don't do this now, you're going to waste a lot of time later on putting this together, and I highly suggest you do this right now. You'll save a lot of time. Rough that in. Now you want to start roughing in other instruments. Rough in some synthesizers. Rough in, the saxophone part or a bass line. A good bass line is so important. Just kind of rough those in. Don't spend too much time, a couple hours here and there. Okay, now you're going to finalize the BPM. Now, because everything's roughed in, you're going to be able to hear whether or not it's a little fast or a little slow, and you want to determine whether you need to go down a couple clicks or up a couple clicks. That's your BPM. So if you started at 88 was your engine when you recorded your engine, you might end up saying, you know what, this needs to be at 92 BPM. You need to do this now because we're going to start laying some good vocal takes and instruments really soon, and we want to finalize that BPM so we're not having to change it later. Now you're going to pseudo mix. This is where you're kind of mixing things down, just roughing it in, spending an hour, maybe 2 hours, roughing it in, because what you're doing is you're preparing for your vocal. You're preparing for your vocal takes, your recordings of your vocalist. What does this entail? Well, preparing includes a lot of things. One, it includes sending your mix in MP3 to your singers, so an instrumental version and the reference file you have of you singing it, so they can get familiar with the song. Send them the lyric sheet, the chords, and so they have all that. Ask them to memorize the song to the best of their ability. Print out a copy so that when they're in the studio, they have a reference sheet. Clean up your studio, clean up your workstation, make it nice to record if you're recording at your house, like most of us do. Maybe put some candles in the room. Maybe have some cold water for them to drink. Just prepare things. Also get your session set up so that you're prepared in your DAW, ready to record a lot of vocals. Okay, you're ready to go. You're going to move to phase 2. This is where things start getting intense. So phase 2 is when you're going to record your vocals. You bring your vocalist in, you've scheduled that time, you bring them in, you're ready to go, you're prepared, which a lot of musicians and producers don't prepare enough. But prepare, it'll set you apart. You're recording your vocals, get your vocal takes, a bunch of takes for your verses, your chorus, your pre-chorus, your bridge. Get all those vocal takes, even some improv stuff. I always at the very end of my session, I always let my vocalist kind of go off and sing an improv over themselves, like listening back to themselves and just seeing little cool parts, because they may come up with cool little variations of things that you wouldn't have actually thought of. Let them have some space to do that. Get some vocal stabs, gang vocals, layers, stacks, whatever you need, harmonies. Have that all figured out and planned so that when they're in there, you have a schedule of what you need and you can knock it out in an hour or two, okay? Pay your singer if you need to. Let them go, and now you're going to produce the vocals. This is the part I'm most passionate about. I teach a whole lot in my course about how to produce vocals because it is so, so, so important. This is where you're going to learn to comp vocals. That's putting all the vocals together, the best takes. This is where you're going to put the harmonies in. You're going to time the vocals so that you're not rushing the beat. You know, if the singer did something, or their phrasing might need to be real staccato if it's a real popular pop or hip hop kind of music. You're going to produce that. So you're going to comp, you're going to stack, you're going to time your vocals. You're going to tune your vocals if you need to. I teach a whole lot on how to do that using Melodyne. And then once you've done that, and you've got some great vocal parts, now you're going to move over to filling out the instruments. Start adding more instruments in. Have fun, and get real creative. If you want to introduce another, like sometimes I will outsource the guitar part to somebody else or a sax part. Bring those people in then, or send the file off to them. Start getting your instrumental parts put in. Okay, so now you're filling out the song. Be thinking about frequencies. You want to make sure you fill out the frequencies according to that genre. You want to also start referencing other songs that are popular, that are professional songs done by professional producers. So you get a very good A-B comparison of what you need to do. This goes right along with filling out the drums. You're going to fill out the drums, put all kinds of elements in there. If you need to hire a drummer to do that, do that. Don't be shy about getting help with this part. If you try to do everything yourself, well, you're going to be limited to your knowledge of that instrument. So don't be shy in outsourcing your violin part, outsourcing all kinds of other parts. Okay, so you've done all this. Now I want you to pseudo mix this. Pseudo mix is you're going to mix this down. You're going to mix it down to the best of your ability, and you're going to send it off for feedback. Okay, this is a really important part that's often overlooked. I want you to pick 5 people. Call them your fave 5, just like the old cell phone ads, and send your mix to and ask for feedback. And this is where it's really important to take a break. Completely take a break. That means don't even listen to this song for about 3 to 5 days, at least. Now, during that time, your fave 5 are going to be sending back their feedback. So just have the discipline to just put the song down. And if you want, start the phase 1. Start over on another song while you're taking that break. All right, after 3 to 5 days, I want you to come back and you're going to reevaluate what you've done. Listen to the song again, start taking notes, and then take the feedback that you've gotten from your fave 5 and listen to, read all their feedback and start making notes of what feedback you're going to take and what you're not going to take. You're not expected to take everybody's feedback, But that'll really help you. Now you've got some great notes on what needs to be changes, and this is where you're going to start making adjustments. It's really important to start making adjustments to set your song into another level, okay? So your song is already great from phase 2, but in phase 3, you're taking it to another level. Do it. This is where you really want to do this, okay? Spend some time, spend a couple days if you have it, making those adjustments. This is also where you're going to finalize the vocals. So if you have to have your vocalist come back in to re-sing a part, you'll know by this point if you're missing something, or if you need more stacks, if you need more harmonies, if you need some more embellishments from your vocalist. This is when you do that. You're going to put all that together. You're going to mix it down again. And I strip everything out. I don't delete it. I just mute everything. And I slowly start adding tracks back in, starting with drums and vocals. And then I start adding the bass, and I start adding all the other instruments in to really fill out the instruments. Once you've done that, you're in that red zone, okay? Now, at this point, if you have the option, use a mastering tool. If you have one of those, I use Ozone. I put it on my mastering bus, and I'll mess around with that to try to get it pretty loud. You want the song to be loud without losing a lot of dynamics, and there's a lot of tricks on how to do that. But you want to get that song kind of polished off the best you can. Again, this is assuming we're not using a mixing and mastering engineer. If we're going to do that later, we can. But right now, we're just getting it into that zone, so now we can show it. We can show the song off to our fans. We can get feedback from family or friends if we want that. We can pitch it to a licensing agent, and if they love it, we can take it from there and get it quickly mixed and mastered by a professional to finalize it and send it off to them. So that red zone is very, very, very key. I want to help you get to that red zone. I hope this helped. This is the outline. This is my timeline. I use this timeline, this method, this process on almost every song I produce for myself or other people, and I highly recommend you too. So hope that helped. Go make some good music.